Did you know that Santa Claus doesn't live in the North Pole, but actually he lives in the state of Indiana? It's true. He lives in the state of Indiana in a town called Santa Claus, Indiana. Today, I'm going to tell you guys about this town about 40 to 50 minutes from the city of Evansville called Santa Claus, Indiana. And something kind of funny about this, why they named it Santa Claus, Indiana, is because the name that they originally had selected for this city was already being used in a different city, which was Santa Fe. And when they were naming the city, it was Christmas time. So then logically, they named the city Santa Claus, Indiana. Santa Claus, Indiana is home to Holiday World and Splashin Safari, which is a theme park, and it is known to be the first theme park in the United States. This theme park opened in 1946. It was the first theme park known as Santa Claus Land. And the theme, I'm sure you can guess it, was Santa Claus. Fast forward to 1984, it was then called Holiday World. So in this park, you're going to find different sections of the park with different holiday themes. You will find a Christmas theme, a holiday theme, Thanksgiving, and 4th of July. Then in 1993, the name was changed to Holiday World and Splashin Safari because they added a water park. And this is one of the top water parks in the nation. I think it's number 2 or 3. And it is a great theme park, you guys. This year, 2023, my husband and I went 3 times in 1 month because out of the nowhere, I became such a fan of roller coasters. And we had gone in the past. We had gone maybe once every year. And I don't know why, but I was terrified. Of course, I would still get on the roller coasters because I didn't want to admit that I was scared. And I also didn't want to make my husband get on the rides by himself. But the whole time my eyes were closed and, I was just counting down the seconds until this was over. I never opened my eyes. I never threw my arms up. And then this year, I just surrendered to the fear. I just gave in and I had such a fun time. They would let me stay on it. If there was no line, I would stay on it. I even rode the newest roller coaster, which I think is the scariest roller coaster, and it's called the Thunderbird. And this is the newest one. Your feet kind of dangle off and you're not going to, but it feels like you're going to hit the trees when you're coming up. You go upside down quite a bit. Now, some of the other roller coasters, since they are much older, like the Raven, which I think is one of the original roller coasters, or not the original, but just the oldest one there. It's a wooden roller coaster and it will beat you up. I mean, you are being yanked around, your head's bobbing everywhere. Although I think this year they added some cushions to the headrest so you didn't get beat up as badly. But if you didn't get a chance to check out the theme park this year, add it to your list for next year. But make sure that you go check it out this Christmas season. What better time to check out a place called Santa Claus, Indiana than during the Christmas season? And if you are looking for things to do with your family, you can go on to santaclausend.org. Here you will find a list of all of the upcoming events. And there's something for the entire family. It's just very cozy, and it's a great way to get into the Christmas spirit. Now, something that a lot of people really like to do starting, I think, the weekend after Thanksgiving or that weekend is the Santa Claus Land of Lights. So what you do is you get in a car, and I think you pay $20 per car, doesn't matter how many people you have in there, and you drive through. It's a little bit over a mile, and the Christmas lights tell you a story. They tell you the story of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. So you've got Christmas music going because you turn it on your radio. And then the lights are telling you the story of Rudolph. And this is really fun for anybody, but especially when you have little kids. And here on the website, you can see it starts November 24th through December 10th, and it's open Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. It's open from 5 to 9 p.m. So funny about Santa Claus, Indiana is that you will see Santa Clauses everywhere. Everywhere you look, there's a Santa Claus statue. This is Santa Claus, Indiana. Of course, you're going to see him everywhere. And during the Christmas season, this is the busiest post office in the entire nation because people from all over the nation will write letters to Santa Claus and send it to Santa Claus, Indiana. And fun fact, if you write Santa Claus a letter, his elves will write a letter back for you. And so if you, your kid, or whoever sends a letter to Santa Claus, they will get a response back. And here you can see the post office with the cute little, cheeky little Santa Claus statue right there. Now, one of my favorite things about Santa Claus, Indiana is that they have this place called Christmas Lake Village. And this is a closed private community. It has over 900 homes and 3 lakes called Christmas Lake, Noel Lake, and Rudolph Lake. And here you can, of course, fish, you can swim, you can ski, water ski, and you can take your boat out onto the water. And actually, our managing broker, Kara, she lives on Christmas Lake, and she takes us out every year to Christmas Lake to get on the boat. And it's such a great time. It's so peaceful. It's not very busy. Of course, it's not a very big lake, but it's not very busy because it is private, and we just have a blast. We spend all day out there sometimes. And something really cute about Christmas Lake Village is that you will find street names like Shepherd Lane, Jolly Lane, Holly Drive, Star Circle, Reindeer This, Silver Bells, Christmas Tree, Rudolph, Baltasar. Just imagine saying like, oh, I live on Snowflake Lane or Shepherd's Lane. So it's a very cute neighborhood. And some of the people that live on Christmas Lake or in Christmas Lake Village, they leave their Christmas lights on all year long. And I've heard that some people even leave their Christmas trees up all year long. Now, it is a smaller city, and you are, like I said, about an hour or just shy of an hour away from Evansville. And there are a lot of things in Christmas or in Santa Claus, Indiana, that you would have to come to Evansville for. Now, some people don't mind that. I mean, it's a 40 to 50 minute drive, and in some bigger cities, you're driving 40 to 50 minutes no matter where you're going because of traffic. Here, it's a pretty straight shot. From what I remember, you don't have a lot of traffic, you don't have a lot of stoplights, but it is 40 to 50 minutes, and when you get used to that small town life, 40 to 50 minutes can seem kind of extreme. And I actually met a family this weekend who moved here from San Francisco or San Fernando, California, somewhere in California, and during the pandemic, they just wanted to relocate. And they thought Santa Claus, Indiana sounded cool. And so they just up on a whim, just up and left and went to Santa Claus, Indiana. It's been, 2-3 years now since the pandemic happened, and they are feeling like it is too much of a change going from a big city in California to Santa Claus, Indiana. So now they are looking for a house in Evansville, Indiana. So it can be kind of a culture shock or a pretty drastic change if you are coming from a big city and you are not prepared for that. But it is a smaller city, and it does have its pros and its cons. And somebody that can tell us exactly the pros and the cons to Santa Claus, Indiana, and who really does love Santa Claus, Indiana, is my managing broker, who was born and raised in Santa Claus, Indiana. So she's going to answer a few questions for us. She's going to do a little interview for us. Here we go. Were you born in Santa Claus, Indiana?
I was.
So you've lived there your whole life?
Yes, this is my famous line when I was young. I'm from Santa Claus, Indiana. I live on Shepherd's Lane. I live on Lake Noel in Christmas Lake Village, and I worked at Holiday World as Holodog.
You're the Santa Claus, Indiana queen.
I would say that. Maybe I'm the mayor. I don't know. I'm just joking. I was born and raised, and when I grew up, I actually live in the house that I grew up in. So, but there was only like 10 homes.
In Christmas Lake Village?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Wow, so you just watched the whole thing be built.
Yes. I only left for a short while. Well, 8-9 years, somewhere around there, when I went to college. And actually, that is when it exploded, back in the 80s and 90s.
When it started building.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. 90s was really when I saw a lot of the development start taking place.
Where did you go for 8 years?
I was in North Carolina, and I worked corporate.
But didn't you travel out of the country?
Well, I did, but I was stationed in North Carolina.
Tell them where you went.
I lived in Shanghai and pretty much went all over Europe and Asia. So, yeah.
How cool. Okay. So what's your favorite part about living in Santa Claus, Indiana?
Well, I left and I obviously came back. And the reason I came back is I wanted to start my own family. And I think there's no better place to raise kids. And there's just something special about growing up there. I have 3-4 generation of friends. It's just that kind of, and it's a very welcoming place too, even if you aren't from there. So don't worry about if you're moving in, but it's just one of those places. It's special. And it has no other better place than summer because you have all the outdoor activities as well. So it's just a really, and honestly, the world is busy as it is today. It's still a little sheltered for the kids, which is good.
That's a good point. Does Christmas feel less special since you live around it all year long?
No, not really.
Do you keep your Christmas tree up all year?
I do not. But there is some Christmas lights and trees outside that I've never taken down.
And you light them every night?
No, I don't. I just don't. I'm too lazy to take them down. Now, my office and one of my VRBOs does have lights on it all year long.
Okay.
So there you go. But not my personal house.
What's your favorite thing about living in Christmas Lake Village?
The community itself, everybody's so welcoming and it's really friendly, honestly. And the lakes, it's just a really pretty neighborhood. The atmosphere is rolling hills and it's absolutely gorgeous. Not what you think of when you think of Indiana.
Okay.
So there, yeah, friends, community, and the lake.
At the lake. Okay, and then the last question, what's your favorite ride at Holiday World?
I would have to say the Raven. That's the smaller
one?
Yeah. Mainly because it was probably the first roller coaster, and especially as me growing up, that it's short, but it's fast and it's really rugged.
It beats you up.
Yeah, it beats you up. So it makes it more like, woo! For sure. And let me think, I'm going to think of an old ride that's one of my favorites because that's not original, which is not very many originals.
Not original?
No. When I was young. So the water park wasn't there when I was young. When I was growing up, there were some of the kiddie rides. Honestly, they used to have a petting zoo that I used to love. And they used to have a wax museum when we'd always go in there. Yeah, we'd actually go in it to cool off. But I think one of the original rides probably is the log ride and the scrambler, more in the Halloween section.
What's the new one called? The orange one? The Voyager?
Oh, the new
the newest one. Is it the Voyage? It's the Voyage.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that one. Have you rode that one?
I've rode them all, yeah. But roller coasters are fun, but I'm thinking going back to childhood.
Yeah.
I was born and raised here, so
Okay.
I've been to it from day one. So they're all fun, though. All the roller coasters are great. The water park, honestly, is incredible. It's one of the best in the U.S. I think it's probably number 2 or 3 out there.
I think so.
Outside of what's the one in Texas? I can't remember. Slitterbomb or something. Yeah. So it's an amazing water park for sure. I didn't kind of talk about that, but
Okay.
it is fun.
Okay. Should people move to Santa Claus, Indiana?
Well, heck yeah. It's the best place in the world. It is a well-kept secret, I always tell everybody, especially because you have the lakefronts, the rolling hills, an amusement park, Lincoln State Park, National Park on the road, good schools. There really isn't anything negative. The only negative is it gets cold in the winter.
But that's all of Indiana.
That's all of Indiana. But that's the only part that, when you have such a great summer, that it's hard when that winter comes.
Okay. And then tell us about this awesome listing.
Oh, the 47.9 Big Tree Farm. It is actually, I was young when this used to all be cornfields, so I have actually seen it all get developed to where it is today, and it is one amazing property. There's nothing that compares to it in Indiana, or honestly anywhere right around in the Midwest, I wouldn't think. It's an entertainment complex if you're looking for that, and it can be even a very good commercial property if someone really wanted to develop it that way as well, because of what's there. You have a log home, you have a diner that could be converted to use for a restaurant. The car museum could be converted back. Right now there's no cars because he did sell them off, but you have that pool area, wedding venue. I mean, there's so much more land that you could do more stuff with.
Yeah, there's 550 acres.
Yeah. So it's one gorgeous property.
I think it would be a really good resort.
Yeah, well, that's what I meant. Someone to really come in. If you look at Gatlinburg, someone that, someone that sings or just create a whole different complex about it. Almost outside of Holiday World, because obviously people come for Holiday World, but something similar, like another attraction is a part of the land as well as staying and lodging. So there's a lot that could be done there, but it takes the right person with the right vision.
That's right. Mm-hmm. Okay.
There you
All right. Thank you, Kara.
Come visit Santa Claus, Indiana. Merry Christmas.
Thanks, Kara.